You can really go as long as you want?
Yeah, it's alive until I cut it off.
Okay.
She said he might need a hot cup of tea.
Today is a Shabbat. You can't cook no, you can't boil no water today.
Right. Well, I mean, I know from a male perspective, I guess I would ask, what do you feel like is the role of a Hebrew woman? Because, you know, you touch on what a man is, and then you touched on a little bit like, if he's a Hebrew man and he's right in his path, but he marries a woman that's not right,
So he wouldn't marry her.
Right. Well, no, some Hebrew men do because
they not right in their path.
Okay.
If he's a Hebrew man, when I was wrong in my path, I made mistakes and married foul women. That's what happens. If he's right on his path, he wouldn't marry a woman that's not right on her path.
Okay.
He will be able to find a distinction.
Okay.
But what we doing?
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Sis, do you want to ask the questions, or would you like to wait or go live to ask the questions? I'll wait for her to respond. But would you like to elaborate a little bit on the role of a Hebrew woman? Your perspective from a man's perspective, because you know it is different from what a woman might say.
I honestly believe that a woman is designed by nature to do her job. So they know what their role is. It's just a natural instinct inside of them to respond or reciprocate what they're being given.
Okay.
I actually believe that. I believe that if a man, the right man, demonstrates to her the actions of justice, of truth, of righteousness, she will fall in her right place and do her job. It might be a little difficult at times because of the society in which we have been brought up will make her rebellious sometimes, but if he's the right man, he'll smooth her out and get her back to where she needs to be. Her responsibilities depends on her situation. If she's a mother, she's a wife, her responsibilities is to create an environment within her home where everybody can prosper and grow healthy. That's her responsibilities. And whatever she got to do or whatever she has to do to create that environment, then it has to be done. If that means you have to keep your mouth shut sometimes, and the things that you want to say, find the proper time to best bring it out, where will bring about the less confusion, then that's what you do.
Right.
I'm not saying sweep nothing under the rug. I'm saying hold your tongue until it's proper time.
Yeah. A sister asked, Sister Akoti Petra said, well, Akoti ET said she doesn't want to go live, but she will ask a question. The other sister says, how do you think Hebrew women should carry themselves? I know they don't have to cover their heads, but shouldn't they dress modestly?
Absolutely. They should absolutely dress modestly. But when you say carry themselves, my question was, in what environment? Because sisters are required to carry themselves differently in different environments. But always with the spirit of humility and modesty. And the spirit of humility and modesty brings about a certain dress code.
In itself.
Yeah. If you were a police officer, unless you're undercover, it's a certain uniform that you wear. So shall it be for a Hebrew Israelite wife when she enters the world, especially when you're married to a prince. You got to enter the streets in a certain way. You got to be arrayed in a certain way. If not, you'll find that you will be bringing shame on your husband's position and your position. A lot of people don't care, but they should.
Yeah.
What was that big post I just saw go up?
That was her question. But another sister said, so no mini skirts and booty shorts.
No.
And I just was like, absolutely not.
No, don't put absolutely not. I'm going to tell you a secret.
Okay.
Yeah, you wear mini skirts
Oh, I know
and you
that.
wear booty
I
shorts
know where you going.
in your home when you and your man are with you and your man. See, you have to keep that flame alive inside of him.
Okay.
Because we are righteous, don't mean we don't have sexual desires.
Right.
You follow me? And you have to keep him ignited where his desires and his passions, his dreams, and his vivid thoughts are on you.
Okay.
And that's one of the ways that you do it. So sis, don't lose. But see that also, that mini skirt and the booty shorts, it does something for you as well, sis. It
Yeah.
keeps you feeling sexy. You know what I mean? And you don't want to lose that because you garbed up all the time and you out in the streets with long skirts. You don't want to lose your sex appeal. If you lose your sex appeal, then you're cheating your man out of a wife.
True.
Don't lose it. Keep them booty shorts and them mini skirts, but wear them where your man only can see it.
Okay.
We're not Christians. We're Hebrews.
So more of be modest outside of your house.
Yes.
And inside your house.
House.
Please your husband in the
Please
manner
your
that you
husband.
choose.
Yes. But be mindful that you have children.
Okay.
You don't want your children seeing you dressing like that and think that it's cool. Your little
Right.
butt cheeks hanging at the bottom of your skirts and your shorts. You don't never let your
Right.
children see you dressed like that.
Exactly.
The appearance of your children should see you always in modesty
Okay.
and righteousness. Okay?
So Coty or Neat says no two-piece bathing suits.
Where?
Outside. Like
No,
at the
absolutely
beach.
not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But put on a sweatshirt and go swimming.
What? A
A
sweatshirt.
sweatshirt.
Hmm.
Go swimming in a sweatshirt.
Well, they actually have sites of modest bathing suits.
Okay.
You
Then
don't
go
have to
the
wear a
modest-
sweatsuit, ladies.
Then
There's a site.
I say a sweatshirt.
You don't have to wear a sweatshirt.
The thickness of a, because once that water gets wet, it's gonna stick to your
Right, but
body.
there's the
So you
site.
gotta be
The
appropriate.
site is for modest sweatsuits, so that swimming suits, so that when you do go swimming, it's not,
I got
clinging
you.
to your body
I
in
got
that essence. But
I can
I
respect
understand.
that. Yeah, I can respect that.
Yeah, sweatshirts.
Good question.
Oh gosh. Okay. Sister Etia said, "Why is it that a brother who appeared to Torah? Why is it that a brother who appeared to be very well respected and versed in Torah could be the total opposite behind closed doors? He said that my role was not to question him, rather he is right or wrong. That my role as a potential wife of his was just to remain quiet, as our foremothers. I was never disrespectful, just stood my ground on something he was falsely accusing me of. Was I right or wrong?"
Are you still running in a candidate of being a wife? That makes a difference.
Oh, is she still in courtship with this
Yeah.
brother? We'll wait for her answer.
All right, let me elaborate on that a little bit until she responds.
Okay.
We have to understand that it's not standing our grounds that makes us wrong. It's how we do what we do and when we do what we do.
Okay.
As a wife, your job is to diffuse any negativity, any conflict, diffuse it. And then at the proper time, you address it. You never want your man to feel like you're challenging him. Because if you make him feel like you're challenging him, he's going to show you that he's the boss,
Okay.
if he's a man. And you ain't going to like it. More than likely, you're not going to like it. Rather, he's abusive or some type of way, or just shuts you down and say, shut up and be quiet, leave it alone. But if you challenge a man at the wrong opportunity or in the wrong manner, that's what you're going to be met with. But if you use wisdom, and you speak with respect at the proper moment, sometimes it's not best to address an issue when the issue arises at that moment. Sometimes it's best to allow it to simmer for a minute, you know.
Come back later.
And when situations change then you ask for permission and approach that situation in a different way.
Okay.
You know? And it's all about how you say what you say and when you say what you say.
Right.
Then you'll get a different response. You know? Just because something happens right now, don't mean we have to address it in the way that most people would right now.
Okay.
You know?
Well, she said they don't even speak anymore, and she was very hurt by the situation. He was very one-sided.
Okay, then that's probably the answer. Sis, if the one that's for you is going to be for you, and he's going to meet your needs, he's going to fulfill you. That's why I asked, were they still together?
Okay.
It's no way that they're going to be able to survive together. They were in a courtship. I hope there was no sex, because in a courtship you shouldn't be having sex.
Right.
Okay. So as long as you're not into, because once that sex enters in,
Yeah, it's
and-
no longer a courtship,
yeah,
it's a marriage.
it's over. So I would pray that you learn all that you can learn from that situation in that relationship and utilize that information toward the next possible relationship that you enter into.
Okay.
That's very important. But with that type of friction, yeah, I would say you was wrong, sis. I would say you was wrong if you approached that situation at the wrong time and in the wrong spirit. Then you were wrong. But just to have an opinion and stand firm on your opinion with this law doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong.
Okay.
Because you could be educating him and teaching him things that he needed to learn.
Okay.
Okay.
So a courtier said, so no sex at all before marriage.
Wow. No sex at all.
At all.
But see, here's the thing. When you first are interested in somebody, you should court at a minimum of 6 months. During that 6-month period, you should be learning the individual. Just don't let them take you nowhere and just bedazzle you
Right.
and put yourself in situations where you're going to start feeling mushy inside. Really learn him. Learn his family history. Make him go get a blood test. Make sure his blood is cool. And you get a blood test. Make sure your blood is cool before y'all even come together. Now, all this is on the courtship. If he has children, talk to him. See what they feel about him. If he has ex-nashim, if you can approach them, talk to them and see what they feel about him. Talk to his mother, his father. Talk to his friends. Do your research, because he might be a psycho. And some psychos, they know how to disguise it very well.
Okay.
And then they marry you, and next thing you know, they flip and become somebody complete opposite of who they were before.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
But I suggest the same thing to the brothers.
I was about to say that goes both ways.
Brothers, you do your research, because she could be a psycho.
Right.
And if the girl ever tell you she crazy, believe it.
Okay.
Don't say, oh, you just joking. No,
Never seen
believe her. If she say she crazy, believe her and flee.
Okay.
Believe me. A lot of people want to think we can change the crazy out of the crazy ones. No, you ain't changing that crazy. Let that crazy be crazy, and you go do what you got to do. And if you got a woman or a man, and they refuse, well, I'm gonna put it for a woman first. I have to, because no Hebrew woman should be with just a regular dude.
Yeah.
That shouldn't exist.
Right.
But a Hebrew man can take a regular woman and introduce her to the Creator. But if she's rebelling, it's time to flee. She don't want to give up the pork. You know, she don't want to stop doing things on the Shabbat day from Friday night to Sunday night. She don't want to stop doing those things, clubbing and partying and going out places to dinner, spending money and doing business. If she don't want to stop those things on the Shabbat day, these are all warning signs to let you know you got to flee from this female.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can't just hold a simple conversation with her without there being points of aggression or strong points of disagreement, she ain't for you.
Okay.
She might be for the next Hebrew man, but she definitely ain't for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This
And the sister just asked, why don't we have an elder council?
we do. We have an elder council. What you want to be counseled on?
Well, she's not saying. I mean,
What
this
she
is a
needs to
different
do-
sister.
What
Right.
she needs to do is reach out to brothers like myself, brothers that well, I don't know how she feel about me, but people, elders, or people that she feel are spiritually gifted or spiritually motivated by the Creator, who have a little form of wisdom. Sit down with them, both parties, and talk.
Okay.
You know what?
And find elder sisters too.
Huh?
Elder women too.
Yeah, of course. What I find fascinating, and it happens quite often, is sisters will call you up. I even have brothers. And all you hear is that one side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
You never get to hear the other side of the story. I get brothers who call me and we talk, and I can only go so far because I haven't heard both sides of the story.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I get sisters who call. They want to tell me about their man and what the problem is. And a lot of sisters I see, for real, are being abused. But I don't get both sides of the story as to why this brother treated. Because once you make a man feel like he can't trust you,
Okay.
it's over. It's a
Okay.
wrap. Even if he stays in a relationship, he'll mistreat you. He'll mistreat you. He might still be there to look out for you, take care of you, but he ain't going to deal with you the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of reasons you have to hear both sides of the equation before you make a decision.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
No more questions at
Well,
this
what happened to
time.
that one sister that says about have a relationship thing?
Right, I told her too because she came. She said it'll veer away from the Shabbat. So I told her
It is-
to message you.
I know how to keep things according to Shabbat.
Okay. Well, she did say Cain. They had intercourse, but that's why I wanted to discuss this another day. So I did tell her to IM you another day. And
Okay.
then Akoti Ornit said, so can a sister bring a man into our culture?
It can be done, but I wouldn't advise it. But it can be done. See, first, a Hebrew woman shouldn't have eyes for a regular man, because more than likely he's going to take her away from the Creator and not toward the Creator.
Mm-hmm. But what if he's a young man that's seeking and she brings him to her father, and her father is, a learned Hebrew man,
Then
a
that's
learned
the
man?
proper. That would be the proper approach.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a lot of people who do it that way.
Okay.
They get into a relationship with a dude that's a regular dude from the street, thinking they're going to change him.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, shouldn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
A Hebrew sister should only be interested in a Hebrew man. And even if that man has multiple nashim, if you're interested, do it. Let it be known that you're interested. Reach out, because it just may be that that man has some wisdom and go about it the right way.
Okay.
But to go toward a man in the streets that you know is going to take you in the wrong, or chances are he'll take you in the wrong direction, is not a good thing.
Okay. Oh, Salakli sister. She said no, she did not have intercourse with him.
Oh,
Salakli says.
wonderful.
Sorry.
I
She
feel
said she
better.
was just agreeing with you when she
Okay.
said Cain. Okay.
Okay, I feel better now.
Thank you for that clarity, sis. So, okay. Now I do have a question because I have daughters who have age of we both have daughters of age of marriage, and a lot of complaints that I receive from my daughters, or my older daughters that are 18 and 21, are just that the Israelite Hebrew men that they encounter are just not worthy. Like, they just don't see them, or they don't want to be married to them because of the way that I guess they feel they're going to treat them according to how they have seen older Hebrew men treat their wives, or how they may talk to them, talk down to them. So it's like these young daughters are seeking out men from other outside of our nation because they feel like there's nothing good in the nation. I'm not saying my daughters are doing that. I'm
No.
just saying you have young daughters who are
I get what your point is.
okay.
But that's a mistake that we make.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking that something is different because you go outside of the nation to get something. The same problems that exist within the nation are greater outside the nation.
Okay.
So although you say, well, I don't want a Hebrew man, so I'm going to go and look for a man out there,
It's gonna be worse.
it's going to be worse. Chances are it's going to be worse.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the reality to this situation. You're going to get what your spirit calls for.
Okay.
If you properly align yourself with the Almighty, then that's what you're going to attract to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A properly aligned spirit. But when you're not properly aligned to the Creator in sincerity and in totality, then you're going to get a messed up dude or a messed up woman.
Mm-hmm.
But when your spirit is right, you're going to pull that to yourself. You're only going to get what's in you.
Okay.
That's what you're going to get back in return, a reflection of what's in you.
Okay.
If you're confused, if you want to cheat on the law, and if you don't want to be sincere with the Most High, that energy inside you is going to gravitate towards someone that is just like that and bring them in your life.
Okay.
And that's what you're going to be sitting back judging him or her on their shortcomings when their shortcomings is the same thing that's inside of you if you're honest with yourself.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And part of the problem is we're not honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to cleanse ourselves and be serious with this walk before we even consider giving ourselves to either a man or a woman.
Okay.
We got to be defined in who we are as servants of the Almighty.
Right.
We got to be seriously about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High will bless us.
Okay.
He'll give us what we need because we will pull what's in us out of us and it'll be in someone else to complete us.
Sister Petra, Koti Petra says, what if the wife is not okay with multiple wives?
Then she should make that known from the beginning of the marriage.
Okay.
She should get her husband to agree that he will not take any other wives after her.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be married to a man with multiple wives except if you don't make this foundation from the beginning of the marriage.
Right.
It should always be put on record first that, listen, babe, I love you, but I don't want to share you with anybody.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. Anything else? I mean, there's no more questions, so I know anything else you want to discuss.
We've been talking for a long time.
Yeah.
What I will suggest is that you go back and you watch the video again
Okay.
and gain some knowledge from the video because we covered a lot of topics.
Okay.
And allow this information to absorb into you. But what I will say is, I would like to cover just a few things about being a Hebrew. If you want to know when the holy days are, you can go to OneNationCalendarCoalition.com and you'll see when the holy days are that we're supposed to be keeping as a Hebrew. You can even download notes, job excusal notes, so that you can get off there. If you want to help a less fortunate Hebrew, we have what we call the IYCF, International Yisraelite Cultural Fund, that we have established. You can go there and you can find different ways to contribute, to help out, to help unfortunate people, battered wives, people who don't have a home, nowhere to live. You can help them through the IYCF. The Shabbat day begins at Friday night at sunset, and it ends Saturday night at sunset. So it's a 24-hour cycle. It's from sunset to sunset. Sometimes it might be a little less than 24 hours, but it's a 24-hour cycle.
Okay.
I have one question.
Yes.
As far as the sun, being as though the sunset, when we're in different seasons, it goes down and comes up at different
Yes.
times during the day. So I was wondering, do we keep that same, like right now, I kind of figured it as around maybe 6 o'clock, 6:30 that the sun goes down. When it's summertime and it's up higher than that, later time, do we still go by that same 6:30?
No.
Yeah, or do
You go
we?
by what's in the heavens
Okay,
to
okay,
determine when it begins and when it ends.
okay.
But what I will say is that whatever time you determine that sun is down, that's the same time that you end it the next day.
Okay.
Because what'll happen is you'll say, well, it's like down, like we're gonna make it go down late so you can work, and you let it go down at 7:30. Then 7:30 the next day is the time that you should be stopping that Shabbat.
Okay.
I want this to be known too. You are not to buy nor sell on the Shabbat day. If you're taking rides in cars, you can't stop, pull over, and buy gas because you'll be in violation of Shabbat day. You don't spend money and buy food on the Shabbat day. For the Shabbat day, you prepare on the day before. On Shishi or on Friday, you prepare for Yom Shabbat, which is the Shabbat day. Okay? Buy all your food and everything you're going to need so that when the sun goes down, you can go in your home and stay in your home, pray, meditate, read, study. If you're going to go out to a house of worship the next day, then you do so. Have all your ironing done the day before. Don't do any ironing on the Shabbat. Don't do any cooking on the Shabbat. None of that stuff should take place on the Shabbat day. Okay? Everything that you got to do should be prepared the day before. So that when it's time for you to do it, you either just put it on or pull out the refrigerator or take it off the table and eat it. Or get dressed and go about your way. There is no business to be done on the Shabbat day.
So that includes microwaves too, like a microwave dinner or something.
If you got a microwave, throw it out the window.
Okay.
You should have a microwave anyway.
Okay.
No man conscious of righteousness in no way should be poisoning his body, his system with a microwave oven.
Sister Okoti asks, how do we control the environment that our children are being raised in with all the access to temptations and other influences outside our homes? How do we deal with that, living in the land that we as a people don't control? And how do you feel about staying in America and being Hebrew? Can you truly serve the Most High and observe the holy days here?
Move to Goshen. That answers the first question. Goshen is an environment which we can control a lot of the things that's going on down there.
Okay.
Once we get a family, Goshen is in Sparta, Georgia.
Well, she knows all about it. She's my
Oh, she do? Oh, then come on, move down. Come on. You get a house, come down Goshen in the land, and we start in schools. We do homeschooling. We do all that stuff right there on the land. So your children's environment will be controlled through that.
Okay.
That's the start of things. Can we truly keep the laws in this captivity? The answer is, to the best of our ability, yes, we can.
Okay.
We can do what the law requires, but see, I want you to understand this. We're not truly keeping any feast days. We're not truly keeping anything pertaining to the Creator. We are only doing a memorial of these things.
Okay.
We're practicing. And we're trying to practice make what?
Perfect.
No, it don't. It makes
Well, it
better.
makes better.
It makes better. So we will become accustomed to how to serve the Creator, how to keep these laws. Because if we didn't practice it, then we forget.
Okay.
Our children would forget, and they wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, sis, let me lay down the foundation so y'all understand what I mean. According to the laws of the Creator, if innocent blood was shed in the land is defiled.
Mm-hmm.
This land has shed much innocent blood.
Okay.
So this land is defiled. So how can we really keep the Most High's laws in completeness
And defiled.
in a defiled land? All we can do is our very best.
Okay.
This is why when we pray, we ask the Most High for permission to approach unto Him in prayer.
Okay.
You see? So we have to do our very best to serve this King so that, yes, He will look upon us and have mercy upon us, elevate us because of our efforts, our desires, that thought that we spoke about, the intent behind it, is what let the Most High see whether we're worthy or not.
Okay.
People who say, well, we can't keep the laws of the Creator because we're in a defiled land and just don't do it, They have no intent to do righteously before the Creator. So what type of judgment do they receive? I can't say I'm not the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
But it is our duties and responsibilities to serve and obey the Creator to the best of our ability. Daniel was taken into Babylon from Israel, from Judah. He was taken into Babylon. Babylon was just like America, a filthy, dirty land. Daniel prayed 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel kept the laws of the Creator. So anybody who tells you once you go into a land of captivity, you're not to do the laws of the Creator, they are in error.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And Shushan, in the book of Hadassah, Esther, in the book of Hadassah, same principle. In the Persian Empire, that land was unclean. But yet, they had a certain law that they abide by that was different than the king's laws. These laws was the laws of the children of Israel, the Most High, the Creator of all creation.
Okay.
Because we are in captivity don't mean that we stop serving the Creator. It doesn't mean that. It means that we have to work extra harder to serve the Creator.
That's right.
So don't let nobody tell you that you're here, you can't keep the feast days because you're in captivity. It's not true.
Right.
If we didn't keep them, we will forget them.
Well, we wouldn't do the Shabbat.
We wouldn't be able to do
Every
nothing.
holiday.
That means that a man can sleep with your wife and ain't nothing you can say that he violated no laws because there is no laws in place. My question is to those people who say that you can't do the laws in captivity, then what is sin?
Transgression of the law.
If we're not responsible for keeping the law, then that means we can do anything we want.
Right.
Then there is no sin then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we all know that there is sin and still
Okay.
sin is still real. The only thing that is sin is violations against the laws of the Almighty. That's what makes a person sin. But if you can't keep the laws in this land of our captivity, then you can't sin. And again, that's a misnomer.
I have a couple more questions that came
Yes.
up. Okay. Torah-ish, by the way. All right. To your knowledge, is the Apocrypha truly part of the Holy Scriptures? Should the Apocrypha and the Book of Jasher? Should all awoken Israelites seek to leave America or take refuge in more secluded places like Goshen?
Yeah. Flood Goshen. Flood it.
Flood Goshen.
And also, Brother Tyra asked how to respond to someone who said, "You can't judge me."
Don't judge them. Keep it moving.
Okay.
Let them lead them in the hands of the Most High. Don't judge them. All you can do is give people information. It's up to them to do what they do with that information.
Okay.
Don't even waste your time and energy trying to force someone to do what you understand to be right or wrong.
Okay.
You share that information with them. You might do a little bit debating if they see fit to do so. But other than that, let them do what they feel they have to do. Don't bear no grudge against them. Don't hate them. Let them do. You can't force people to come into a knowledge that they're not ready to receive.
Mm-hmm.
But you can
Well,
plant seeds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and
And
the
that's
Most
how
High
you
said
plant seeds.
He wants a willing heart. So
That's right.
forcing someone isn't going to make them truly love or believe in the Most High.
Okay.
All right. To answer the first part of that question, I want to turn to the book of Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter.
So you're answering the part of the Apocrypha truly part of the Holy Scriptures? Is
Yeah.
that the Apocrypha in the Book of Jasher?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says chapter 20?
Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter.
Oh, 4th chapter.
It says, "Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes, unto the judgments, which I teach you, for to do them, that ye may live, and go in and possess the land, which the Creator your Elohim of your fathers giveth you. Ye shall not add unto the word, which I, the Creator, command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Creator your Elohim, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Creator has done because of Baal Peor. And all the men that follow Baal Peor, the Creator thy Elohim have destroyed them from among you. But ye that have not cleaved unto the Creator your Elohim are alive, everyone, that because you cleaved unto him this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Creator your Elohim commandeth me, that ye shall do so in the land whither ye go in to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who has Elohim so near unto them, as the Creator, your Elohim, is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligent, lest thou forget the things which thy eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your mind all the days long. All the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Creator thy Elohim in Horeb, when the Creator said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live upon the earth, that they may learn, every man may teach their children. And ye came there. So he goes on and talk. But he goes on a little bit later on, he says that you are to keep the commands of this book of the law. Everything else is commentary. You understand me?
Okay.
The book of Jasher is a book that has never been revealed by the word of a prophet of the Almighty. The book of Enoch. These books are, if you research the history of them, they're not even that old. You know, they don't go back 2,000 years. And the Creator been stopped dealing with man in that level when man was able to write scripture for us to live by. The Apocrypha. Now, the history of the Apocrypha, if you research the history of the Apocrypha, most of the books, not all, but most of the books of the Apocrypha was attached to the original canon, the original Tanakh. And then some of them was added to and left alone. There are many books in the Apocrypha that you can utilize that will be good and healthy and wholesome. The reason how I say you use as a determining factor to let you know what books are good and which books are not, if they speak contrary to the law, then do away with them. If they uphold the law, then you can go ahead and read them and research them, and more than likely they'll be accurate. But you can also research the history of the books. And that'll let you know if that was a part of the original canon. The original Bibles before the Catholic Church removed some of them from it. Actually, the Catholic Church has some of their Bibles have the Apocrypha in it. I believe I have one over there. Some of their Bibles have the Apocrypha still in the Bible. But, you know, they move them around and do what they choose. But you have to understand, King James took the Apocrypha out. So you have to go through the books, research them, and see what books are worthy. The good measuring rod is, if they contradict the laws, then don't deal with them. I know one book in the book of the Apocrypha talks about Jesus. Now, yeah, I mean by name, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. But this book was supposed to have been written thousands of years, at least 1,000 years before he was born. At least several hundred years before he was born. But it talked about how he walked through the streets. Come on. He wasn't even... The point I'm trying to make is, it's not that these books are prophesying about him. Some of those books are talking about his life that he lived. Now, how can that be an original part of the original canon that was written way before the New Testament even existed, when he wasn't even born? So that will I think that's the book 2nd Ezra, I think it is. Let you know that book got to go. But there's a lot of books that are actually in the Apocrypha that actually came out of the Tanakh, that they put. You know what? Yeah. So that would answer that question, I believe.
Akoti Oni asks, she's just curious. I see that you're saying creator, your Elohim instead of Yah. Is there a specific reason why, or just your preference?
She's sharp. She is sharp.
That's
She
why
is
me
going
and
to
her
be.
friends.
Oh, you really know this girl? This female.
Yes.
She's sharp.
Mm.
Either that or she saw some of my lessons before. They're trying to act like she's
No,
sharp.
she's sharp.
She's sharp. I look at her, take it up.
Don't be down in my friends.
See how the
man.
women take care of each
Don't do
other.
that.
I see.
I got your back, sis. Don't do that.
All right, sis, let me explain this to you. Nobody knows the name of the Creator. And as bad as man tried to defend their position that they know, they don't know. In honor to the Creator and respect to the Creator, I don't call him by the name. I call him Creator. I call him my Father. In Hebrew, Yotzer means to create. I'll call him Yotzer. I'll call him Abi. I'll call him Creator. I personally, I call him Most High, El Shaddai. Attributes that are exclusive only to him. Besides Abi, Abba. I call a man Abba, but I don't call him Abi, Creator. I used to say those names years ago. If you watch a lot of my videos, I used to say those names. But then I had to be real. And as my understanding grew and my knowledge grew, I had to be real with the Creator and real with myself. And none of us knows his name. If anyone on the earth knew the Most High's name, they could speak his name and the ground would crack. The earth would shake. Lightning would fall from the sky. What do you think Moshe did when he was on the mountain and caused the waters to separate, to spread? How do you think he did it?
Calling on Most High.
He knew things. That's right. So this name that we have in this book, Yod-Heh Wah-Heh, the Tetragrammaton, is not the Creator's name. If anything, it could be an attribute of the Creator, but it's not his name. So a lot of people will dispute and argue with me over that, but I tell you this, and I say this in a manner that, with all due respect, a lot of us are worshiping devils and have no idea that we're not worshiping the Creator. And that's why a lot of our lives go the way that they go. That's why a lot of the situations are the way that they are. Because we don't know how to worship the Creator. And that's why, again, I say, when I approach the Creator, I ask for permission to approach him. Because I don't know. We don't know. And we have to admit that we don't know. The arrogance of man makes man fight and defend a lie. And I refuse to do that. Okay? So that was very wise of you, sis, to pick up on that, because I give the Creator all respect. And I wouldn't want to disrespect him by calling on him something other than what he desires for me to call him as. Okay?
Brother Tara asked, what are some home run hitter scriptures that will shut the entire New Testament down? You want a private message?
Huh?
So do you want a private message?
I mean, one of them would be the scripture that says, "Thou shalt not allow the body of a man to hang all night on a tree." No, which says that no man shall die for the sins of another man. That would be one. But there's a whole lot in the New Testament. But anyway, you have to go to their source and their foundation. And they try to say that JC was prophesied in the Tanakh. Well, you have to find those prophecies that they claim are about JC and read them in both languages and understand what it's talking about. They say a virgin, Isaiah the 9th chapter, a virgin shall give birth, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, and butter and honey shall he eat. Well, if you read that, you'll see that prophecy was written for Isaiah Isaiah was prophesying to King Ahaz about a war between two other nations that was warring against Ahaz. The prophecy was being written that this would happen in his time. And it doesn't say virgin, it says young woman will give birth. And that this child will grow. Before the child could grow to a certain age, that those two kingdoms that made war against Ahab would see them die.
Mm.
And that's exactly what happened. 600 years later, now JC born, and they try to say that prophecy was talking about JC. It's not good. It's so many. Isaiah 45, where the Most High says that He is our Savior, and besides Him there is none.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
45 and 17, I think that is. It's places all over the
That's the one I like to go to when they say that. Like, man, they like to.
You can use one of their favorite ones, Isaiah 53, I believe it is, where they say, let's make sure it's Isaiah 53. That's their favorite one. Yeah, who have believed our report, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? They try to say that this is talking about JC. But if you read that scripture, it also says that he shall see his seed, shall see him, or he shall see his seed. JC had no seed. So how could that be talking about JC? If JC had seed, then that'd be one other story, but he didn't have any seed. So you got to read the prophecies that they try to say is about JC. Read them through thoroughly with a clear eye and patience. And then you'll see that a lot of things that they say just is not so.
Okay. There's a couple more questions.
Go ahead.
Sister Tia says, what does the word hallelujah mean in Hebrew? She says she was always taught it means praise be to Yah. Is that not correct?
The word is not hallelujah. Most people say that because they copy off the Christians. But when you look at the word in Hebrew, it's hallel. And then they put Yah on the end, meaning praise be to Yah. But I would applaud you to look up the word hallel. It is a word hallel, which means praise, but there's another word hallel, which means something quite on the other side of things. Okay? So look up the word hallel. But hallel, Yah, praise be to, as they say, Yah. Hallel, Yah. And then when they say hallelujah, is not what it says in Hebrew. It doesn't say that in Hebrew. It says hallel.
The last question I see is, should people be calling on the name of Jesus even though they know it's not his name?
No. People should be calling on the name of Jesus for no reason.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
That's
Okay.
You shouldn't be calling on the name of any demon. Let's say any deity. The only name you should be calling on is the name of the Creator. And we have not his name. So we have to call upon, if you want, the names that have been left on record for the Creator, or by an attribute that no other could hold except him, like Creator.
Okay. Well, I don't see any more. Question. She said, back to what we discussed the other day, the halal meats, does that have any significance to what you are referring to?
No.
Okay.
I got a question about halal meats. That sacrifice to, we're not supposed to touch that, right?
No.
I was just getting clarity of that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to eat foods that's been sacrificed to devils.
Right. Yeah, so I was just getting clarity.
Halal food has been sacrificed to, because of the understanding of their mind, the devils.
She said I was taught halal is a command to praise Yah.
Okay. I'm not going to go against her teachings.
Okay.
I'm going to let her believe what she believes. As I
No, I
said,
think she's asking a question.
I know,
not
but I
just,
don't want to start no. If she's not ready for the answer, I don't want to be the one to give it to her. Just go look it up and research it. And if she's ready for it, the Father will give her what she needs.
Okay.
Okay? But translated through the scriptures, Hallel means praise.
Okay. All right, family. We are going to.
Is that it?
Yeah,
No
there's
more energy?
questions. I mean, I don't see any more questions.
Okay, well, if there's no more questions, then we close it out.
Okay. So we're gonna close it out, but as Maish has stated earlier, you can IM him. If you're not comfortable with IMing him, you can IM myself, and I will relay the question to Maish.
Don't know brothers I am her though.
All right. No brothers IM me.
Brothers be I am
But
brother.
Brother
Hey,
Tyler.
that's your brother. That's your man. This question, your brother, you got enough heart to I am.
Well,
I
if
am
a
me.
man IMs me, I do know how to let him know.
See how she
This
put-
is my brother. This is my husband's message name, and you can IM him.
You see how she put me in my place? That's how it's done.
Mm.
She said, well, listen, in so many words, she said, brother, husband, Ish, I would never disrespect you. I would never violate you. If a man reaches out, this is what I'm going to respond in. That's how you do it. And that's what keeps a marriage healthy. Respectful. The appropriate time and in the proper tone, the proper words at the right time. She shut me down. Now, how am I going to respond to that?
You can't.
With hostility or anger or... No, she did what she was supposed to do, the way she was supposed to do it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I try. So, sisters and brothers, we thank you all for being attentive today. I know it was a very good Q&A. I pray that the Most High was with us and that many of you got your questions answered. And if not, as I stated before, Maish is available through private message. And we're both available, but yes. And we thank you all for enjoying your Shabbat day with us.
Tell them if they prepare questions for next week, write them down ahead of time,
Okay.
and we can address them.
All right. Everybody heard that? You can write your questions down ahead of time, and we can address them next week. Someone just came on and said, "What's up? Yeah. How's my grandson? His name is Tyrone." Okay.
Preferably for a open forum, because oftentimes people hear what your question might be,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps to elevate them in their understanding of things.
Okay. So we look forward to seeing you all. That was for Ernie. We look forward to seeing you all or talking with everyone throughout the week or next Shabbat. May everyone's week be blessed, and may we continue to walk in the path that the Most High has set before us. Any closing words, Ish?
The total duty of man is to fear and obey the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my closing words for today. Be the very best that you can possibly be until next week. Take on that challenge and be the very best that you can possibly be to draw as close to the Creator as you possibly can. Let Him elevate you. And then next week you'll fill yourself with a different energy, and we'll proceed. May the Most High be with you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.